a lot of these people, because of course, in addition to Drax, the Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, you were known even before that, you know, I mean, because the wrestling thing was huge. And I don't know that people always appreciate just how big that is and how broad the fan base is for that.
You know, it's weird. The fans obviously do, but like when I first started auditioning for films, I was actually surprised to find out like how many people just weren't familiar with how broad the WWE was. It's a global show, and it's a show that airs weekly. And I try to tell people, because a lot of times I get recognized. I'm out in public, I don't get recognized for Drax or for Spectre or for Blade Runner. I get recognized for wrestling, and I tell people it's not, these movies are huge movies, they're massive hits. But I was on television almost every week for almost 10 years around the world. So that's that wrestling fan base, and they're the ones that recognize. That's the facial recognition.
When you come out to events like this, do you find that, I mean, especially now with the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, do you find that there's still as many people who recognize you and come out on account of your wrestling career, or is it sort of evenly split?
No, I don't think it's evenly split at all. I still think my larger fan base is with wrestling. So I'm actually never surprised. I always expect that most of my fans will be, familiar with me from wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I noted, and of course, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, you're teamed up with noted actors like Zoe Saldana, and even the characters like Rocket and Groot, voiced by Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel and this kind of thing. But in a lot of ways, you were sort of the biggest name among the cast.
Yeah, it was weird. Now, this is how things have changed, but when we first started filming the first Guardians, Chris Pratt and I were over living in the same neighborhood, and he was over there by himself, and I was over there by myself, and we didn't really have anybody but each other. So we would go out all the time, go out, lunch, movies, whatever. And I would always be the one that was getting mobbed by people. They would come up, they would recognize me from wrestling. And how times have changed. Now, I even watched like our Twitter, because I think mine at the time, my Twitter following was much higher than his. And his is now like 10 times what mine is. But it shows what Guardians did for his career, and they did for my career as well. But still, at that time, I had a huge following from wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Now, you happen to be from Washington, D.C. I understand.
Very proud of that, man. Very proud to be from
home guy. So, and I understand, because this is your success is something that is inspirational to a lot of people who are from here.
Yeah.
And, because you grew up rough neighborhood, and, I understand people getting killed in the front yard, this kind of thing.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was really horrible. But in retrospect, it was horrible. But I don't remember it being horrible. I remember it being like one of the best times of my life. I don't remember like the violence. I do remember, but it just, for some reason, it just doesn't resonate with me like you would think. It's just something I kind of was used to, which is why my mom got us out of here. She was afraid that, we just were numb to it. We were oblivious to it. And she didn't like that. She thought, if we're not seeing this dead guy in our alley, we're out in the street playing, then that's something's wrong with that. So she dragged us out of here. Yeah.
Well, but I appreciate what you're saying, but I also think it's good that you could still be a kid and still kind of at D.C. have some
for sure.
Life. Yeah.
No, it was like it's some of the best time of my life. My greatest memories are from my childhood, are from here in Washington D.C. and us playing out in the street like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning. My mom also worked nights then, so we were a lot of times we did have some freedom, but it's different times, and there were some much safer elements about that time, but some as far as the city itself, it was just a much more dangerous place to be at that time, late 70s, early 80s, even into the 90s when I was older. It was bad. It was rough.
Do you get a chance to come back outside of events like this?
Yeah, well, my son's still here. My family, my brother lives literally right down the street. He lives like 2 blocks away. So I'm back. I'm here a lot.
Well, I hope you made him put you up in a hotel as opposed to staying with your brother when you came.
Yeah, no. I mean, I prefer to stay with him just because I like to make him uncomfortable. Just walk around in my underwear, like, put some clothes on. But no, I love coming back here. I love inspiring poor kids from any city. You know, if they can pursue their dreams, chase their dreams, and be something larger than their circumstances. Yeah, that's what I'm about.
You clap it out.
Also, I have to say that because not only, I think a lot of people don't realize this, but I'm naturally a very introverted person. And so I always encourage people, and a lot of people that, they've watched me perform and they would think, no, how's that possible? But it's because I always dreamed of doing what I'm doing, and I didn't let, my inhibitions, my shyness stop me from doing it. I just faced my fear and kind of just pushed it to the side and pursued it. So I try to encourage people to do that too, just kind of get out of their comfort zone and pursue their dreams. Yeah. I'm not trying to give a motivational speech here, but
No, but I'm sure that in at least part is what some of the people came out for, to be able to interact with you and hear your story, and because people feed off of that.
I think the biggest surprise I get from people is when they come through the line to meet me. I think they're like shocked to find out that I'm way more geeky than they are. They don't have nothing on me, man. I think there's sometimes I start conversations about shirts or costumes or this or that, and they're like, I just want an autograph, man. Stop, I gotta go now, Dave. I got stuff to do.
Now, in terms of the character Drax from Guardians, because I got to tell you, I'm an old-time comic book guy, and I was reading, the other Guardians with Vance Astro and Martin X and all these guys, which I'm sure you heard a lot about.
Yeah.
Had you been a fan of? Because you're saying, kind of geeky. Had you?
For sure. It was weird, and I always, I hate to say this publicly. I feel like I'm betraying Marvel, but yeah, when I was growing up, my favorite superheroes were actually DC. Like Aquaman was I was that weird kid who was just obsessed with Aquaman. I thought Aquaman was the greatest thing ever. And then Batman, but then of course, Spider-Man from Marvel was one of my favorite cartoons when I was a kid. And that's actually where I got most of my fix. I was that kid sitting in front of the TV. I was the TV kid or the movie kid. But yeah, I mean, I didn't know much about Guardians. When I first got the audition, and I read the part for Drax. It just made no sense to me. I'd never heard of Drax, never heard of the Guardians, and I actually called my acting coach, and he was like, "This is great. This is the greatest thing ever. This is a perfect part for you. This is going to change your life." And I was like, I don't get it. And I didn't. He said, well, just do some research on it and call me back. So Google, Drax, and I looked him up, and I did, and still didn't get him. There were so many versions of Drax throughout the years, and I found one picture, literally one picture, where it was just Drax, and he just looked big, and he just looked mean and menacing, and I just kind of connected with that picture, and it just made me more curious. Yeah, it was just. And then the more I did it, and then because I was reading the sides that they gave me, and they just didn't make sense. They didn't go with this picture, and I thought that's what my coach loved about it. He's like, it's not who he is not who he looks like. So I thought that's me. That's me, man. I just get it. So that's how I connected.
Well, you certainly made the character your own. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, Drax was probably my favorite character in the movie. I don't know about you guys.
I think I made him my own, but I also think I made him James Gunn's Drax. I think that's why I got the part. He was looking for a particular person who looked the part, but just got kind of the comic relief of Drax. And I think that's actually what won him over. But I think I would never take credit for, Drax being who he is because of me. I would give all that credit to James and his twisted sense of humor.
Well, were there any other ways that James Gunn sort of influenced your performance and the way that things turned out?
I think more than anything, he was just encouraging. He was just understanding, and he was encouraging. And he told me from, the very, very early on in the auditioning process that, he believed in me. He thought I was the guy. It took a little convincing because it was just, a lot of people. I just wasn't proven as an actor. People. they didn't get it, man. They didn't. I think they just looked at me, or they knew my wrestling background, and they just had a certain perception of me, a label that they slapped on me, and they just didn't get that I really wanted to be an actor. So I think, you know, it took some convincing of him, and I knew he was fighting for me. And I think it was just his support in general.
All right. Now, you know, I understand that we have a special surprise guest who is in back. Can we get our special surprise guest out? There we go.
This dude, hi everybody, I'm Sean. He's way too modest. I hear him, I was watching him backstage and he's like, oh, I would never take credit for how awesome the character. You can at least take credit for how awesome you are in the role. I mean, it's like, you deserve credit for that.
James Gunn. Let me tell you why. When Sean's not here by chance. Yesterday, when I found out I didn't think I was doing a panel by myself. I thought I was doing it with Shawn and Michael. And yesterday they said, no, you're doing it by yourself. I said, well, that's going to be really boring. So they said, would you like Sean to come out? I said, hell yeah, please have him come out. So Sean is,
But it was great. Your panel, I was into it. I was backstage. I was like, he didn't need me out there. This is really interesting. Anyway,
we'll see. And
Sean's one of my favorite people in the world, man. It's really great to see him actually start to get the credit that he deserves, because he was Rocket Raccoon on the first film, and he got zero credit for it. But he is who we all played off of, and he was dedicated, and he was there every day working his butt off, and he just gave us so much to work with. And he never really got any credit for it, so it's really great to see people acknowledging him for that now. And also, Kraglin is just one of my favorite characters in the whole Guardian. Camp Bautista. But yeah, that's anyway.
Oh yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy though. Yeah, I feel like in the first movie, you and I were both people who sort of felt like we had something to prove there.
Yeah.
Even as much as you're right. You said, you know, when you said that, like you had a higher profile than a lot of the other actors in the movie, and yet still a lot of people are like, oh, he's a newcomer. And
Right. Yeah.
no, you've been performing for forever.
Yeah. Well, I think it was just proving myself as an actor, you know, because a lot of people. I mean, there have been a lot of failed crossovers from wrestling into acting, and I think it's because a lot of wrestlers who wanted to cross over, they didn't really want to be actors. They wanted to be movie stars. They wanted to make that big crossover and be big famous movie stars. And I actually just wanted to be an actor. I just fell in love with acting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I still have a chip on my shoulder, but I think I'm the one that's put it there because I just still feel like I have something to prove.
Well, I don't think so, man. I really don't. I love your performance in the movie.
Thanks.
Well,
Thanks.
well, everybody loves Sean, your performance too. You know,
Thank you.
That's. Can we hear it for Sean? Wasn't even expecting 2 for the price of 1. This is great.
And it's even better that Rooker didn't show up. So it's like perfect. It's us and not Rooker. That's a bonus.
Usually when he does show up, it's great. That's not for Rooker, is it? Usually when he does show up, we literally, it's great because it takes the pressure off of us. But it's like, it's an hour of Rooker just saying stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with anything we're talking about. He's usually running around, he's assaulting someone. It's just mayhem, but it's very entertaining.
My goodness. All right. So, well, I tell you what, it is a Q&A, so I suppose we should open it up. We have, I think we have 2 mics. I see, yeah, there's a mic over here and there's a mic over here, and, you know, we can alternate. I have been asked to let you all know, don't ask for selfies with these gentlemen. And, you know, we have a lot of people who are trying to get questions in. I know it's a fairly long panel, but we got a late start, and I know, at least, Sean, I'm not sure what, I know you're in a photo shoot later. I know you're in the same photo shoot with him. There's like a Guardians of the Galaxy photo shoot, and I know you've got one coming up, and, you know, so they want to make sure these guys get where they're going. So please stick to one question, and if you could ask, like, one of them a question. Now, I got a question for both you guys. Nah, let's just stick to one of them, all right? So let's start with the very well-dressed man over here.
This question's for Dave. I'm a huge Bond fan. I know you are too.
I can hardly tell.
And I also just appreciate seeing a Filipino in a Bond film. And so can you talk a little bit about what it was like filming Spectre? You know, as a Bond fan, were you just geeking out a lot, or?
I was geeking out a whole lot. No, it was great. It was weird. It was kind of, so when I first got offered the part, when I did the audition with, there was a full dialogue scene. And so I sent in my audition, and Sam Mendes kept going back to it. And then he wanted me to come over and meet him, fly over to London. I was like, sure. So we went over there, and he told me the nature of the character. You know, the character doesn't speak. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for Jaws. We're looking for Odd Job. And he said, I just didn't know with you where you're at in your career if you would be interested in a character that doesn't speak. And I said, stop. I said, you don't have to sell me, dude. I said, I'm all in. I get it, because Odd Job was like one of my favorite characters ever in any movie. And I just got it. But at the same time, when I'm going through the process, I was wondering if other people would get it, or if they would. It's just that fear in me, that chip on my shoulder, where I'm thinking, God, they're going to think I don't have any dialogue because I can't act. But then, you know, but I pushed that aside because I was so proud to be a part of that franchise. I just got the character. I was happy to be there, and so I just, you know, I took it. I went all in. And when actually the only issue I had with that whole film was I didn't think the character should ever have spoken at all. I thought before he got out that word that he should have been yanked out. I thought it was better just to leave him silent. But you know, Sam was really adamant about me saying something. He was wondering if it was going to be something very profound or if it was one word. So it ended up being the one word thing. And it was, you know, and I turned and I said, shit. So, but here's the funny thing. So they called me before the movie's going to come out, and they said, we need you to go to the sound studio. We need you to do some ADR, some voiceovers. And I said, for what? He said, well, we don't want you to sound so distinctly American. So I was like, well, okay. So I went in, and I said, well, you know, what do you want me to do? Am I Spanish? He said, well, we're going to do it a few different ways, and just repeat after me. So he said shit like about 5 or 6 different kind of really bad accents, and I just kind of repeated after him, and what we got stuck with was shit. I hate it. That's the only problem I have with it. I just wish they would have left the character silent. And there was a punchline after that one word that they cut out of the film. I say shit. They yanked me off the train, and originally Daniel Craig goes, God, I thought he'd never shut up. And they cut that out, so it's like the punchline's not even there. So yeah, no, but that's, anyway, sorry I made that really long.
Yeah, I want that an audio tape of you saying shit and all those different dialects. Like Australian. Shit, baby. Shite.
Dude, the funny thing is, so the ADR guy is there, and every time I'm going shit, I'm going shit, and I'm looking at him. They all sound the same to me.
Hey, so this is the coolest thing ever. You said earlier that Drax was very much like James Gunn's Drax, but now shooting Infinity War in Part 2, is it different? Is it a different process with a different crew? Or
No, and you know, it's funny.
Just when it was going so well.
Jiggly butt, jiggly, jiggly butt, butt jiggly. Wide butt of the jiggly. What come out here because this guy gets in trouble sometimes, and he's all shy and everything. And I was like behind the curtain there, and I'm like, he's doing fine. What happened?
I feel like I'm, because for one, I have ADD, so my stories just run on. They usually take a different direction, and then I'm going back like, what's the question? And then I'm also like so monotone. I feel like I just bore people to
Well,
death.
I tell you what, one issue that I have with you is your microphone's too far away.
Too far away.
Yeah, you got to bring it up a little closer because your voice is nice and low and easy, right? And it'll be easier for people to hear you.
Okay.
That's it, right there. What else? What else? What else? What else do we need him to do to make him more like Michael Rooker? Sean, do you have any? You have any suggestions? No, Sean, shut up. Don't say anything. Why would anyone want to be more like Michael Rooker? Yeah, first off, that's a big problem.
The answer to that question is...
Oh yeah, your question...
Hi, nice to meet you.
...is no.
No.
The Russo brothers did not try to change the Guardians from James Gunn's version of the Guardians. Actually, we had the luxury of James writing for us a bit, which was tremendous, because I was afraid of that going into the film. I didn't... I was afraid that they were going to try to make the Guardians a different version of the Guardians, and
I know it's very difficult for you to keep that arm up. It's so heavy.
I feel so formal now. Like I feel.
Now just hold it down here a bit like this, so that when people take photos, they don't get that in your face like that. So it's more like this. But when it's down here like this, you got to talk louder for them to hear you. Because if you're talking like this, it's not going to be easy.
Okay.
For them to hear
How's
you.
that?
Is that better? Hell yeah! Good question. Okay, next.
Now make like a tree.
Who's next? Over
You
here?
gotta go over here. Yeah.
Oh, because you're flip-flopping. Okay. Oh, wow, that's fancy stuff. I never do that.
I appreciate it.
There you go.
Hey, how you guys
Short.
doing?
You're a short guy, huh?
Yeah, buddy.
Don't worry about it, man. That microphone can twist.
Hey, my name's Daniel. I'm from Arlington. Questions for Dave. Where in the area exactly are you from?
I was born in Southeast. Grew up a lot in Southeast. I lived a bit in Northwest. I actually lived right up on 13th and R for a while.
Nice.
I lived in Arlington. I went to high school in Arlington. Yeah. Whitefield. I went to W&O. Yeah. Lived in Alexandria. I lived all the way out as far as Ashburn. Born and raised in DC. I grew up on 11th and K Street. Wow. Near the neighborhood.
Thanks so much. Thanks for coming.
You managed to get shout outs from like 14 different neighborhoods.
Hey, my question's for Dave. I'm a big fan of you from WWE and Evolution. So, what is your dream match, and are you a heel or the face?
Oh, always a heel.
What did he
Always a
say?
heel.
What did he say?
He said, what's my dream match in wrestling, and am I a good guy or a bad guy? That's the translation.
That's right. Wrestling, you're a good guy or a bad guy, and you had.
I'm a good guy. I mean, bad guy.
Oh, you're a bad guy or a good guy?
Oh, I'm a good bad guy.
You're a good bad guy?
I'm a bad good guy.
Or a bad good guy?
I'm a very good bad guy.
And I don't know, what would I be?
You'd be a bad guy.
I'd be a bad guy?
You'd be a bad guy who thought he was a good guy.
I'd be a bad guy who thought he was a good guy, that wanted to be a good guy only in his dreams.
You'd be Merle.
I'd be Merle. I'd come in with my knife hand, except it'd be a whip. Oh my goodness. Hey, yeah, go for it, man.
All right. Hey,
Are you a
guys,
wizard?
No, I'm Slytherin. Just.
You're slithering.
No, Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw, oh, of course. Oh, yeah, oh. How come I never see... Okay, what What's your question, sir?
Well, first, thank you guys for coming to Awesome Con. We really appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
So my question is for Sean. So Sean, during the final shot in Guardians 2, where the Ravagers come to give Yondu the sign-off and everything, that reaction was so real to me when I saw it on screen. It really made me tear up and everything. What was your motivation for that, to get you to get...
Because I was dead. What other kind of motivation you need? I gotta go pee.
Imagine, he said, imagine how happy you'd be if Rooker was actually dead.
Oh my God, thank you, Lord.
You know what's funny is...
Thank you for taking him.
I gotta answer real quickly. There's a scene at the end of the movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This great Milos Forman movie from 1975, Jack Nicholson. At the end of the movie, Christopher Lloyd is cheering at something, and my brother had told me he was thinking of that when he wrote it, and so I went back and watched that a couple of times, and I was like, I get it, I know. We're on the same page here.
Well, that's definitely one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Some actors need external
Get out of it.
stuff to help them. No, but it's true. You go back and you look at different films and you look at different things that can inspire you and move you to getting it right on the camera. Yeah. Otherwise, his brother would kill us. His brother's mean. Isn't he mean? He's like the oldest and he's the meanest. What? You don't think James Gunn's mean?
Yeah.
He's a mean guy.
There's a mean streak in there.
He does have a mean streak.
Presents it in a positive way.
Yeah.
Zoe Saldana actually does the best impression of James when he's like fired up, and I actually can't do it.
Oh, does
He's got
she?
his chin out here, and he walks around.
Yeah, he gets mad and he walks faster, right?
Yeah, he's got his chin out.
I gotta stay out of this conversation.
No, James Gunn. This is James Gunn. Rooker! No!
Damn it, Rooker!
Again! Do it again! His famous
Yeah, one more
directorial.
time. One more
his famous
time.
directorial. One more time.
Just one more.
And you're on the.
Just one more.
Which one are you on? The 15th? Amazing.
Okay, another question.
Hi, Dave. My question is for you. How do I get swole like you, bro?
I actually asked how you get swole.
Oh. Eat.
I actually answered this question yesterday, and it's a weird answer for me. But I actually spent so much time in the gym because it was the only place I ever felt like a normal person. I know that sounds really weird, but it was kind of where I found out my peace, and it's kind of my sanctuary when I was younger, because I was really just kind of a gangly, shy, introverted, awkward kid, and I just always felt like when I went to the gym, it just made me feel more confident, but not even just because I was getting bigger, getting more muscular, maybe, stick my chest out. It just made me feel better about myself, so I spent tons and tons of time in the gym, and I still do, because it's therapy for me. That's the honest answer.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, fellow Guardians.
Hey.
My question is for Dave, and what I bet probably everyone else is probably thinking is, why does Baby Groot hate Drax in the second Guardians movie? What is this problem with Drax?
Yeah, it's just think of it as a sibling rivalry. They just, they're both two kids. Obviously Drax is a big muscle-bound kid, but if you really pay attention to Drax, there's a huge, innocent, childish quality to him. and it's a sibling rivalry. They're two brothers.
Where do you get that from? I never got that in that movie. I never got Baby Groot didn't like you.
Oh yeah, they didn't like each other.
Oh yeah,
I never. Don't do that.
It's definitely in there.
No, I never got that at all.
And there's actually a line in there that we threw in there. There's somewhere where we're going off with Quill's dad. And I've got all this stuff. I've got like so much stuff, and I think Zoe says, "Why do you have so much stuff?" And Drax says, "I don't want Groot touching my things." So he's bringing it all with him. But that's the way you look at their relationship. It's a big childish sibling rivalry. That's it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is also Dave. This question is for Dave. I'm a huge Guardians fan. I have way too many questions to ask. But I was only a fan of the WWE a very specific era.
Yeah.
And that was the era of Evolution.
Oh, thanks, bud.
So, I got a question for you, man. What was your most memorable moment, on screen or off, being part of the most legendary stable in the WWE?
Well, off screen, I wouldn't be able to tell you publicly.
Fair enough.
It was, it's a good Ric Flair story that I wouldn't share. On screen, I think it was the time that we were all holding title belts. There's a great shot of it. They took a very memorable shot, it's a famous shot, but it was I think the first time in history that a faction, a wrestling faction, had like every world title. And that was it, man. That was the moment. That was the moment that Randy and I had arrived. So I think it was that. And there's, you've probably seen the shot a million times where we walk on the stage and we're all holding up belts. Like that never happened before. Yeah.
Thanks, David.
Okay. Hey, we're just under 5 minutes.
And never again. It will ever happen again.
Yeah. So I think we can get like 2 more questions in.
2 more.
But these
2
guys
more?
have photo. These guys got
Are you
photo ops and
serious?
stuff. They're pressing.
Let him wait.
There you go. All right. There you go. You got my back,
right? Drax is such a avenging character. He's always going after somebody. He's always wanting violence. After Thanos, who do you think that he's going after next?
I would think that would be the end of the line. And I don't think Drax does want violence. He definitely wants revenge, but I think I think Drax wants his family back. I think he's found his kind of surrogate family, but I don't think Drax is actually a violent in nature character.
No, not at all.
Maybe a little rough around the edges.
I don't know. He does laugh joyfully every time he kills something.
Well, he's non-violent.
Again,
Drax is a non-violent human being. You're not human. No, what? I've always wanted to ask, what race are you? What race is Drax? What race is Drax? What is? Did they ever say? Did they ever
I'm
bring
sure
up?
somebody knows, but Drax always was the first.
He was like created.
His people.
He was created.
Was he
He's like
created?
his own thing.
Was he created?
There's different versions. I don't think that the Drax that we're following now is like the Arthur Douglas Drax. I think it's a different version of Drax who comes from a civilization of Draxians. But I don't know.
What's your question, hon?
So my question's for Dave. Since we all know you're from DC, I've heard rumors that you're a Nationals fan.
Yeah.
So my question is, how you think they're going to do this year, and whether or not they're going to re-sign Harper?
Gotta hope so, man. I love that kid. And it's weird. It's weird. I wasn't. A lot of people know this about me, but Lou Gehrig is actually my hero. So, which is why I supported the Yankees for so many years. But I also have to remember, like when I was growing up here, we didn't have a baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
So it was either like Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
or like New York. So I supported New York, but Lou Gehrig is my hero. I'm not necessarily a diehard Yankee fan, but I did support them over the years because of that connection. But yeah, you know, I hope they do well. I'm a little bit out of it. I'm out of touch with reality. I mean, with the world right now because I spent so much time on the road last year.
Okay, that's enough, Dave. Thank you very much. What's your question?
Pretty good.
Yes, we can have a good team. And
They're good.
The Guardians of the Galaxy did an Inferno video with David Hasselhoff.
I don't care. What's your question?
That's my question. How did it come about?
I don't care.
I told you.
Mustache is the Guardians of the
What happened, baby?
How was it wearing the cheesy mustache?
Oh, the cheesy mustache. Did you wear a mustache, Sean?
Me?
Yeah. Yes.
In
How was
Guardians
it?
Inferno?
How was it? Did you like it?
No, I grew that mustache for that role.
That was real, baby. That was real.
It's a very important role for me.
Is it ever hard to pretend that Sean is a raccoon?
Is it hard to pretend that? No, not at all. I think of him as a rat all the time.
Hey, are you going to be coming back to the WWE? Are the rumors correct?
Are you coming back? You're going to wrestle again?
I hope so.
Yeah, maybe so. Hey, let's get this on camera, buddy. You know, he's only coming back if the money's right. You understand? And his reps get 30%, so I want my 30 first. Go ahead.
Man with the Iron Fist. Your roller press body was like awesome. If you had the chance, would you go back to the franchise again?
Yes.
Yes, he would. Awesome. How about you?
Hi, as another introvert, I think it's really cool.
Okay, what's your question?
How do you describe the rewards from being a WWE wrestler and an actor?
What do you like best? Did you like being a wrestler better than being an actor?
Not necessarily. I miss the interaction with the live audience. It's just immediate feedback. I miss that adrenaline. I love it. I love that type of performance, physical performance.
Okay, which one did you like best?
I can't pick because right now I'm just in love with acting.
Okay, never mind. Okay, what's your question?
What advice would you give those of us with ADD?
What advice? Lady, she's got ADD.
Just own it. Just own it.
Own that shit, baby. Own it. You got ADD?
No, but I got
Oh, you can have it if you want it.
Okay. Yeah. What's your best memory of wrong side of town?
Your best memory of wrong side of town?
Well, lately it's been Stormy Daniels' boobs.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Let's go real fast. What's your question?
Hi, I actually have something to say to you. I remember seeing you as Sakura in 2012.
You got a question?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Dave Bautista. Hello.
What's your question?
What's your question? Have you ever thought about joining the DCU after Marvel? Would you play the character Bane?
Okay, no, he doesn't.
So, what was harder, wrestling or acting?
What's harder, Dave, wrestling or acting? That would be good for both of you guys up here.
Acting. For me, it's acting.
How about you, Sean?
Acting, see? You said acting, guys.
What is more difficult,
I just
Sean?
want to know you said acting.
Your wrestling career?
This is what I do
or
is
your
really
acting?
hard. I just want y'all to know that.
Go ahead, what's your question?
How do Drax and Mantis' relationship evolve going into Infinity War?
No, none of your business.
Hi, as an introvert, what advice would you give to fellow introverts?
Don't be an introvert.
How you doing? This is the Scoutmaster of the Boy Scout Troop. I'm wondering if all three of you guys would be interested in providing some inspirational stories and visiting this troop.
No.
Oh.
Damn. We don't have time. We're leaving here tonight or tomorrow. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Dave, quick question. I know that CM Punk wrote some issues of Drax the Destroyer. Have you read them, and what do you think? Would you recommend them?
Yeah, I think he's great. I think he's really great. And actually, when he first got the gig, we communicated back and forth, and I couldn't wait. And he actually sent me, made sure I had a first edition. And I think he's really incredibly talented, and I hope people.
Okay, we love you, Dave. What's your question?
My question is for all three of you. Do you like being?
Doesn't matter if it's all for all three of us, because Rooker's going to answer it. So just ask him.
What do you like?
Do you like being part of the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Do you guys like being part of the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Right on. Okay, we got time for just a few more. Make it quick. And when I come up here, give me just your question. Go.
What's up, Michael? Always wanted to meet you.
Nothing's up.
Difference between Guardians of the Galaxy and the Infinity War.
There's no difference.
What are some of your funniest moments filming Guardians?
I don't have funny moments. Neither does Dave.
Can you be my friend?
No. I am your friend. I am your friend. Here's the light. We'll show you. We're going to prove to you that we are friends. Look, Dave. Dave is your friend. Wave to Dave. Sean is your friend as well. Hi, Sean. The other guy on the left, I don't know who he is, but he could be your friend too. Who he is? What's your name, dude? Hey, Michael. My name's Michael as well. I'm your friend. Bam. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys. All right. Can we have a thunderous applause?